Good morning, Spiritual Life Center. Welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. We are so glad to see your beautiful faces, and we want you to know you're welcome here. We're going to sing about it.
That's right. You're in the right place at the right time, just where you're meant to be. It's nice to see some faces. Anyway, let's sing about it. Here we go. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. In the right place, I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. My soul is welcome. Your soul is welcome. Your soul is welcome. Our souls are welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time, right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. I'm getting the message. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Yeah. My soul is welcome here. 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 My soul is welcome. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome
Well, good morning, Reverend Deborah. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All
Good
righty.
morning, Reverend James.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day. Won't you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Go ahead.
And we happily greet you this morning in the name of all that is good, all that is holy, and all that is sacred. And in the warm and loving energy of this community, Spiritual Life Center. Spiritual Life Center honors all people worshiping in temples, mosques, churches, stone circles, and of course, the beautiful temples of nature, because we know that there is no space that God does not grace. If you're with us for the very first time today, online or on site, we especially want to welcome you because we know that you are not here by accident. Every one of us is here by
Divine appointment.
And we're so excited to be back, and restrictions are lifting, and maybe there's life out there again. Well, there's always been life, but we are also really thrilled when you silence your cell phones and other electronic devices. Wear your mask properly if you are wearing one, and of course, please refrain from flash photography during the service.
So we take a breath in and a breath out, feeling our breathing. You know that breath represents life. And we're grateful to be the expressions of this presence of God, which is life itself and love itself and joy itself. And we affirm that this is what every individual has an opportunity to express in their daily living. So this morning, we simply rest assured that the Spirit of God is within us and around us. And we lift ourselves to be one with this presence in thought, in word, and in action. We send out healing and prayerful energy to everyone all over the planet. And right now we focus on Ukraine and Russia and know that there's a peace that is passing our understanding, seeking to be expressed. And we take that same energy and bring it within ourselves and know that as we speak these words of peace and love and joy and wisdom, as we live these words and make them the activity of our awareness, our consciousness, and embody them in our life, they cannot help but show up in our world. God needs us to shine God's light, and so we let that light so shine before men and women all over the planet that they cannot help but see the good works that we are. And it reminds them of who and what they are as well. For we and they and all of us are one. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Well, here at Spiritual Life Center, we seek to fulfill our purpose through our mission. And I invite you to affirm it with me together. To transform lives as we love, serve, and remember. And we do so as we carry out these 5 basic universal principles to the best of our ability in our day-to-day living. And they are: God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation are how we connect with God. We must take action. Well, one of the things that we seek to do is bring into our own action and in our own lives the principles found in the Season for Nonviolence. And so between the anniversary of the transitions of Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King, we bring forth a principle that is read in order to remind us how we can make those principles part of our lives and radiate them out into our world. And so today, are you going to read it today?
I'll read it.
Okay. Deborah's going to read today's principle from the nonviolence principles.
So the theme today is, today I take time to sit and be peaceful. There's nothing I desire more than peace of mind. In a peaceful state of mind, I can accomplish all my goals, face every challenge, and overcome every apparent obstacle in the way. Peace of mind is not only enjoyable, it is supportive of my career, my relationships, my health, and every aspect of my life. So at the beginning of the day, I take time to sit, relax, and be peaceful. I find a comfortable position in my chair, close my eyes, and then take a few deep, relaxing breaths. I focus on my breathing. By closing my eyes and focusing my attention on my breathing, I grow more peaceful and more peaceful with every moment. This is so enjoyable that I do it in the morning as I begin my day, and then again several times throughout the day. And the first thing I think, of course, is, because there's so much going on and we have so many distractions. And I was trying to get peaceful yesterday, and then I realized that there are all these things that I felt like I should be doing going on in the back of my head. And then I remembered there's this little book, it's called 1 Minute Meditations. And I only got halfway through it because he says, go to this point and then practice and then come back to the book. Well, I just got stuck on the 1 minute part of it. And I've had occasions where I just didn't want to do something, and I just took out my phone and I set it for 60 seconds and got really quiet. And it was amazing what that 60-second break did for me. And that's what this brings up to me, is like, we don't have to sit down for 20 or 30 minutes. Just stopping and taking that breath makes all the difference. And that's how I find peace when I feel like I've got so many other things that are calling me. Thank you.
Great. And if you want to deepen that consciousness of peace and want to have that extended meditation experience, this Wednesday at 7 p.m., that's March the 2nd, we're going to observe Ash Wednesday with an extended meditation called Reflections of Your 12 Powers. We all have those faculties within us. So you can join Reverend Deborah and myself, and we're going to guide you through a meditative journey through those 12 spiritual concepts, those 12 spiritual faculties that lead you to gently awaken during the 40 days of Lent. and Louis Shiflett and Paula Mandela are preparing wonderful chants to accompany our meditation. So you can join us either here or online, so you can join the consciousness no matter where you happen to be in the world.
So do you feel charmed? Do you feel lucky? Join us for Lucky Charms Bingo on March 11th. There's games, prizes, contests. How many have done bingo before? So you know what it's
Yes.
like. Invite your friends, and you can connect in person, of course, and don your lucky cloak and hat and come join us in person. Or if you're going to do it online, get a mug of green tea and tune in and come play with them. They're going to play from 7 to 8:30. You can register for Lucky Charm Bingo online, and of course, or at the hub. And of course, there's all the details on our website.
And there's nothing like Spiritual Life Center bingo and the Lucky Charm bingo to be special. On March the 9th, Reverend Linda Martella Winstead is going to begin a 4-week Zoom class called Empowering Prayer, an affirmative prayer enrichment training. And I would say that prayer is the foundation of any spiritual growth that we want to engage in. I know Reverend Linda is really very good at this. And this class is based upon her 2 books, How to Pray Without Talking to God and Divine Audacity. And she is the vice president of Silent Unity, which holds prayer consciousness 24 hours a day, but doing it for over 24 years. So she trains all those individuals who do the prayers for anyone that calls Silent Unity. So we invite you to be part of this class to deepen your own personal growth and expand and deepen your prayer life. And you can get details and more information about the class on our website, slcworld.org.
Now, our annual meeting is in May, and that's when we elect new board members, Board of Trustees members. The application process for board members is now open. There'll be an information session on March 20th, but if you're excited and feel called to serve, you can apply today. Visit the board recruitment committee table in the courtyard or visit the website for more information.
So, also, if you're here just for the first time or you've been visiting Spiritual Life Center for a while, you're welcome to be part of our community member program here at Spiritual Life Center. You can join us on site or by Zoom for an information session with myself as well as our board president, Sally Sion. And it's going to take place on Sunday, March the 6th at 1 p.m. In this session, you'll find out what it means to be a community member. You can ask questions that you may have about our community and get to know some of your other fellow community members as well as those that are in a leadership position. So you can go again to our website to get more information or register under events or members tab on our website. And now I'm going to invite Janee to come forward. She has an update for the youths. And thank you, Reverend Janee.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I wanted to start off my announcement this morning with reminding everyone that we have nursery services here. I met a young mom last week with a little baby, and she didn't know we had a nursery. And I announced it when we first hired Anna Hernandez, who works in our nursery, but I just wanted to mention it again, that we have nursery coverage for both services at 9 and 11, and we would love to welcome your little ones. So just wanted to put that out there again as a reminder. Our Youth at NYOU services are offered at 11 a.m., and we've been talking about the 12 powers and the power of imagination. And we're going to begin talking about the power of strength. And I think we can all agree that it's taken quite a bit of strength from all of us to walk through these last couple of years, and our kids are no exception. But they are so resilient, and believe me, they teach us so much. So we're really grateful for our time together with our youth. Our teens had their first music meetup the 3rd Friday of this month, which our wonderful Michael Lawson leads, who's here today. Thank you, Michael. We appreciate you so much. It started off small but mighty, but we have another teen that's joining us this month, and I really just look forward to that taking off. It's just so fabulous to give the kids a way to express. And we had our 4th Friday meetup just this last Friday, which is more of like a YOU meeting we have our meeting, we go out here and we roast marshmallows, and it's really nice. Yeah, it's wonderful. And it really does warm our heart to be able to create a space to give these kids a place to create their community. So thank you. I also wanted to mention that I've had a couple of wonderful folks dropping jewelry off to me. And I just wanted to say thank you. We are definitely going to have a jewelry sale this year, but I haven't set the date yet. But I am grateful to all of you who continue to donate. We will keep that, and we will have it for our next sale, which I'll let you know soon when we're going to do that. So again, I just want to thank you all for all the ways that you support us and our kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Janee.
You know, we have so many things going on at SLC that we only can talk about a few of them from up here, or we'd all just sort of, well, we'd never get to hear Reverend James. So if you want to know all of the other things that are going on, all the happenings at SLC, you can go out into the courtyard, look at the bulletin board, go chat with the ladies over at the hub. Of course, everything you possibly could ever want to know about SLC is on our website.
Well, at this time, I invite any of the chaplains or board members that are present here to stand. The chaplains do the very important work of holding the prayer consciousness, the high watch for our community as a whole and for individuals who would like to have personal prayer. They're wearing the white stoles. I think that's Thomas, our person on duty this morning, and he's available to pray with you right after the service here in the sanctuary or in the courtyard. So we thank the prayer chaplains for all their work that they do. And also our board members that are here this morning who bring their time, their talent, their consciousness, their skills to keep us moving forward through interesting times. And believe me, without them, we probably wouldn't be here today. So thank our board members for all the work they do. And they're available to answer questions that you may have about our community. So thank you, board members, for your service.
And we love to greet our newcomers, so in a moment we're going to ask you to raise your hand. But first we want you to know that there are many ways to become connected here at SLC, and one way to do that is fill out the welcome card. Now that welcome card is available online, and you can go to our website, click on Connect, and fill out the card, and we will get back to you. If you're here on site and you raise your hand, we will bring you the card. You can fill it out, take it to the table out in the courtyard, and they will give you a very warm welcome and a special gift.
So any first-timers here this morning? If so, raise your hand. And if there's anyone who's first time or online, we thank you for joining in with us in this consciousness. And for anyone who's actually online joining us, we really appreciate your presence because it makes a difference. We love you, we appreciate you, and we behold the magnificence that you are. And at this time, those who are here, if you want to greet a friend or a neighbor in a way that feels comfortable for you, we invite you to do so right now.
And we invite you to stay standing and join us in singing our group song, More of Who We Are by Ricky Byers. Please join me in singing. I will meet you with my heart, heart to heart. Let us meet again, and then may we become more of who we are, more of who we are. I will touch you with my soul, soul to soul, soul to soul. Let us touch again, and then may silently.
I will meet you silently.
Breath to breath.
Breath to breath.
Let us breathe.
Let us breathe as one, and then may we become more of who we are.
Much more of who we are.
More of who
So
we
much more of who we are. I will meet you. I will meet you. Heart to heart.
with my
Heart to heart.
heart to heart.
Let us meet again.
Let us meet again,
And then may we become more of who we are. More of who we are. I will touch you. I will touch you with my soul.
with my soul,
Soul to soul.
soul to soul.
Let us touch again.
Let us touch again,
And then may we behold more of who we are. More of who we are. I will meet you silently. We'll meet you silently. Breath to breath.
breath to breath.
Let us breathe.
Let us breathe as one, and then
May we become more of who we are. Who we are. More of who we are. More of who we are. Let's bring it down a little bit. I want to hear you guys say more of who we are. Let me hear you. More of who. I mean, I know it's just the first service, but come on. More of who we are. Much more of who we are. More of who. More love, more peace, more compassion. More of who we are. More of who we are. Give yourselves a hand. Please be seated.
Oh, that has become like probably my favorite group song. I love that song. It's really lovely. Such a beautiful message to sing to ourselves, sing to each other. So I invite you. What? No time like now. I invite you now to speak aloud our vision statement. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions, weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom. We cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet. And now, in preparation for meditation, we're going to sing our mission statement. Why have we come to earth? Do you remember? Why have we taken birth? Why have we come?
Why have we come to earth? Do you remember? Why have we taken birth? Why have we come to love, serve and remember? To love, serve and remember. Why have we? Why have we come to earth? Do you taken birth. Why have we come? Why have we come to love, serve and remember, 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 to love, serve and
As we move into our time of meditation, let's breathe together. Feel the vibration of that beautiful chant that permeates this very room. Why have we come to earth? Why have we come? To love, serve, and remember. I remember God. I remember who I am at depth. Breathe that in, deep into your belly. Breathing in and breathing out. Each breath softening. Each breath relaxing your body, quieting your mind, and opening your heart, your beautiful heart, that beautiful heart space in the center of your chest, expanding with each breath, opening, inviting our attention into this sacred space. Breathing in and breathing out. Our hearts are the portal to our soul and to all that is. Settling into your heart space. Feel what awaits you there in all its glory. This love is what you really are. This aliveness within you, within every cell of your being. When we know the truth of our being, we know it within all of creation. I remember. I am love. When I was ordained, we were reminded that being a reverend meant making a commitment to revere all of life, to see beyond the physical, and to honor the divinity within each other and within all of life, to meet each other and all of life from this holy presence. Presence meeting presence, love meeting love, God meeting God. We are all ministers of God. You too are a reverend of the divine, here to revere all of life, here to minister to the human heart, to allow God's love to flow through you into all of life. This wonderful life that shows up exactly how we need it for us to fully awaken to this truth within us. When we trust God within our own being, we can trust God within all beings. All beings. Even when it appears as if someone has forgotten who they are, we remember, and we become their reminder of the sacred. That's why God's placed you there. It's as if God is whispering in your ear, they've forgotten, and I need your help to walk them home to me. We're listening, God. And we silently whisper back, I remember. In every face I see the face of God. I see the beauty that surrounds me in every moment. As we move into the silence, resting in that holy love, I invite you to hold within your heart someone who you've seen as less than this holiness. Someone who maybe you haven't wanted to love, who you didn't feel was worthy of your love. It's not the truth. Just bring them in. That's all you have to do. God will do the rest. Both of you, warmly held in the heart of your Creator, in the heart of your God, in the silence. Now feel your body from the inside. that love. This is how we change the world, by loving it, all of it. Here we are, God. We remember. Use us to love this wonderful, wonderful world. Thank you, God.
People in your life will criticize with words that hurt you. And the so-called friend who doesn't hear your cries when dreams desert. The person in this world you may despise, a smile could save them. Once Gandhi looked into his killer's eyes, and he forgave him. Oh, it's time to change our attitude and learn how to forgive. Turn each complaint to gratitude and let the spirit live. Forget the things that money buys. Forget the latest fashion. It's time we look into each other's eyes and feel compassion. It's time we look into each other's eyes and feel compassion. And feel
Thank you. That last note took me to another dimension. Compassion. I think there was a line in there, so choose compassion. You know, I think it was the Dalai Lama who said that those who practice, those who choose compassion will be the radicals of our day. I think compassion is very much akin to the concept of love. You know, compassion is really, I think, a connection that we develop with another human being. And of course, love, as we've been saying, among other things in this theme for this month of love, a radical choice, love is a force. It's an energy, a presence that binds everything together, all of humanity, all of life. You know, they made mention in that song about Mahatma Gandhi, and he recognized that connection even with someone who sought to take his life. And according to the story, he looked in the eyes of the man who wanted to assassinate him. Yet he was still able to have compassion for him, compassion toward that man. And he simply told the man that, you know, you have a job to do what you have to do, but just don't involve anyone else. Oh, okay. I thought my phone was saying something. That Siri was responding. Anyway, he said, do what you have to do to the man. And he said that the gentleman said he was speechless. And that Gandhi had made such an impression upon him and such a connection with him on that soul level that eventually he became one of his most loyal followers and a lifelong friend. Today in this last of this series on love, a radical choice, we're looking at a way to make authentic connection, to touch that place that binds all of us together. And we're looking at the magic of authentic communication. You know, I wrote that title down a while back, and I said, no, what does that really mean here? And I began to think about, I mean, you may have witnessed this from time to time. You know, a couple of people or groups of people, they have kind of sharply different perspectives on something. I mean, like diametrically opposed, like they're from two different universes. And more often than not, there's no real communication going on between the two people or between the two groups. They're not seeking to get any common ground. It's more like, you know, each person or each party is trying to convince the other person or the other group that, you know, I'm right, you're wrong, and that's the end of it. And you kind of have like a circular conversation going on, not really getting anywhere. And it's probably even more so as we look at our internet and social media, where people don't have to have a personal connection or involvement with another person. And if it gets to the point where they could be anonymous or a pseudonym, oh my God, the shadow side really comes out. The shadow side just like comes up totally and completely. Because they go full board, calling people names, and while at the same time trying to convince them to come on their side. And they think that somehow that's going to force them to be on their side, to look at it from their perspective. But there's a saying that goes that when you convince a person against their will, unconvinced still. They're still not convinced. Because there's really no real dialogue. It's nothing that's really a genuine sense of communication that's taking place between the two individuals. There's no common ground sought to be reached in any way, shape, or form. You know, I recently hired a local, mover to help me do some moving a while back. And I knew the guy from a few years ago, so I called him up again because he had done some previous work. He did a really good job. So we got to know each other, pretty well. At least we were very friendly. But we have very radically different perspectives on life. Our philosophies about religion, I don't think he had any kind of philosophy on religion, or politics, or hot-button topics. But interestingly, we were able to really connect with each other and communicate in what I thought was a pretty respectful dialogue. I don't know if anybody changed their minds about anything, despite our vast philosophical differences. And I would say that even at the end of the conversation, we had actually reached a common ground because we came up with a new idea that neither of us had even thought about before. And I think to get to that point, I think we have to follow the guidance of St. Francis of Assisi. And, he has a prayer we often call, the Make Me an Instrument. And one of the lines in there says, don't try to be understood. Seek first to understand. And that's where the magic of authentic communication can happen. I was reading some work from the legendary physicist, David Bohm. I think he was around the time of Albert Einstein and other people like that. And he said something very profound, I thought. He said, if we are to live in harmony with ourselves and to live in harmony with nature, we need to communicate freely in a creative movement in which no one permanently holds to a particular position. They're not holding on to their own ideas. In the 1970s, there was a profound and civil dialogue about race between James Baldwin, who was an acclaimed writer and activist, and as well as Margaret Mead, who was the iconic cultural anthropologist. And there was a hot-button issue at that time, as it is sometimes today. But I think what made their conversation interesting and very powerful was that it was an insightful dialogue that was taking place. It was not like a ping pong of opinions and reactionary responses that often shows up in today's world, that people sometimes claim that is real dialogue. Rather, there was a commitment to a mutual contemplation of the different viewpoints that were taking place. I think that is clearly appropriate in the polarizing times that we're going through today, because there seems to be an unrelenting shouting and a lack of civility from influential people that trickles down perhaps and reflects the consciousness of a portion of the rest of society. But whether they be celebrities, whether they be news people, whether they be political figures that oftentimes attack one another with incendiary words and polarizing rhetoric. And often their words heighten more and more intolerance, as well as potentially instigating aggression, and serves as a substitute for reasoned disagreement. So if I may ask, how do we get beyond the divisiveness of the us versus them that sometimes that we see in our world, that we see in the consciousness that's showing up? I think it starts by practicing what one person called generous listening. Because a lot of communication today is characterized by an ungenerous unwillingness to listen. And then you add to that the compulsion to want to speak. Sometimes if there's if somebody's talking, the person is not really listening to the other person. They're just waiting for a moment to step in there to say what they got to say to show that why they're wrong. Where a person is not, like I said, not saying anything, and they're not listening at the same time, but they're just waiting to get their point across. You may have witnessed something like that. Interestingly, that same physicist in the work I was reading, he said, over 40 years ago he was saying this. He said before the development of the World Wide Web, before that time, he was saying this. He said, in spite of this worldwide system of linkages, there is at this very moment a general feeling that communication is breaking down everywhere on an unparalleled scale. And what appears in media is generally at best a collection of trivial and sometimes unrelated fragments, and at worst, it can be really harmful as a source of confusion and a source of misinformation. He said that like 40 years ago. He could have been talking today. Bohm calls this the problem of communication. And he wrote in one of his essays entitled On Dialogue that different groups are not actually able to listen to each other. And the result, the very attempt to improve communication, leads to more confusion and sometimes a sense of frustration that inclines people to have more discord, more conflict, rather than a mutual understanding and of trust. Of course, this requires that we claim or reclaim the true meaning of communication and the magic of authentic dialogue that can come from this. Communication is based upon the root Latin term commune, I think, is a common or something to that effect. And it simply means to make something common. And in dialogue, each person does not attempt to make a certain idea that's already known to him or her. Instead, the two people are creating something new together that the two previously had never even considered. You have to create a different space for that to happen. You know, sometimes you take two ideas and put them together, and you got a new idea. And it's like putting wheels in a suitcase together, and boom, you got a suitcase with wheels. How did somebody come up with, I always just think, why no one thought about this before, and it came up with it? It's like, such a simple idea. You put those two things together. And I'm sure that before that, somebody put together the idea of a bell and a clock and got together an alarm clock. Of course, that was before smartphones and all that stuff that's here today. And the same can be taking place when there is authentic dialogue. But we can only create something new if people are willing and able to freely listen to one another without prejudgment, without trying to force another person to accept their point of view. Each person or group of people must first, and I think foremost, be interested in expanding the sphere of what is possible. And that can only happen if he or she is ready to drop old ideas. If those individuals are willing on some level to go on to something new, something very different than what they think they know. And of course, this requires that we work through the uncomfortable luxury of changing our minds. Changing our minds. Sometimes, we're willing to change a lot of things. We'll change locations. We'll change mates. We'll change jobs. We'll change socks. We'll change underwear from boxers to shorts or briefs. We'll change hairdos, lipstick, makeup. But sometimes changing our mind, not so much. Not so much. It's not always easy because our ideas and beliefs are rooted in assumptions we hold on in many areas of our lives that are emotionally attached to us. Whether it be politics, whether it be economics, whether it be religion, whether it be about doctors and healthcare and lawyers or corporation. And those assumptions are usually nothing more than opinions. 400 years after Galileo admonished people against believing their preconceptions, and at that time people believed the sun revolved around the earth. Folks believed that, and they knew they were right. Just like sometimes when people thought they knew the earth was flat. Thought we had learned the folly of clinging to unexamined beliefs. Yet 400 years after that, there's a tendency to cling to our existing opinions as a self-protective block to hedge against the fear of uncertainty. We want certainty. But in trying to block out uncertainty, we limit our ability to listen to new possibilities. So if we have fertile dialogue, in order to have that, we must first become aware of our own blocks. That's the thing about this work. It's always about looking at ourselves all the time. We always want to say, what about them other people over there? They need to change. But we have to always look at our own blocks and be willing to surmount them by having an open mind, or what the Zen Buddhists call the beginner's mind. And when we get into that mindset, we put ourselves in the position to create something entirely new with someone who seems to have a completely different perspective than our own. I had a mentor years ago. I think he was saying this tongue-in-cheek. I don't know if he was or not, but he said, if you want to drop a few pounds, drop an opinion or two. And you'll see the psychic weight will just roll off. So every day, now, he said, say to yourself, now that opinion that I'm holding on to, that am I willing to fight for and to die for, instead of holding on to that opinion, release attachment so there's room for some fresh insight. A new perspective can come in. I was at an interfaith gathering many years ago, and there was, I think, the facilitator or the MC was challenging the people there who came from all different backgrounds and faith to come to an understanding that this great spirit that we all worship or we all celebrate is really beyond denomination, that it's too big to fit into any denomination at all, and that we lose our attachment to our own point of view, that we may be able to catch the reality of what God really is, which is always bigger than what we can ever imagine. The Dalai Lama gave an example of this. One day he was in a dialogue and somebody asked him a question. And he thought about the question for a moment and he said, I used to answer that question as a Buddhist. But I realized by doing that, I was narrowing my field of perception. So I opened myself up and got a fresh insight. And it made me actually a better Buddhist. That was a very profound perspective from an individual who I think is very profound in and of himself. I think many of us need to drop our opinions on a regular basis. And I think the world would be a better place because we'll be able to open ourselves up to new insight, to see beyond what we think we already believe. I always say, I'm always, somewhat, frightened by individuals who say, I already know everything. That's a dangerous individual. But how meaningful dialogue takes place rather than debate, that's what we have to do is open up ourselves. Rather than try to convince the individual why we are right, we need to open up and engage in genuine dialogue. Where there's dialogue, there's an expansion in consciousness. There's a change in perception. And it's not tossing out opinions that's merely the ping pong of an opinionated debate that often leads to meaningless conversation because that is an old paradigm. Experiment, walk around a little bit. Eavesdrop on some people's conversations that, have a perspective and check out some of the communication. And if you check it out online or in person, you'll notice, like I said, the circular conversations, nothing being said really, nothing being resolved, no prayer or affirmation or explanation of an expanded idea by any party involved. That's like The Walking Dead. I don't know if you watched that show. I used to watch it from time to time. My son turned me on to it. It's an acquired taste. But we end up being like that. But in authentic communication, new ideas can appear. Everyone wins. We're trying to impose a particular viewpoint on another group or participate in a win-lose game against one another. Instead, we're co-creating with spirit and playing a game with one another. And when we do that, we're coming from a place of oneness. We're coming from that place that binds everything together. And that's what divine love is. And then everyone wins. And we create genuine harmony in our world. I think our world needs this more than any time. And I think that is the magic of authentic dialogue. So let's remain open and receptive to that possibility. And let God be God in us by willing to let go of our opinion, see new possibilities, and let the Spirit run our life. Peace and blessings to you. Well, I'll be back next week, and I'm going to be talking about we all do better when we all do better. Look at my last page here. At this time, I just invite those who may be online to support this work in spreading the consciousness of new possibilities for our individual lives and our world. And you can support Spiritual Life Center by texting SLC Love to 44321. That's SLC Love to 44321. Or you can go to our website, slcworld.org, and give in other ways, including by mail. And we appreciate you and we thank you for your consciousness and your contributions, because we can help create a world that works for everyone by doing our part wherever we happen to be. And for those who are present, I just invite you to take your gift or your love offering. And if you're given by mail, know that you've already in the flow of a principle that says we can never outgive God. We can never outgive the universe. And whatever we give out comes back to us in ways we never imagined. And so we are here to continue to expand our own awareness and maintain a place that will be available for those who are on their way, that are looking for what we have to offer. There's a lot of people who are out there looking for us and don't know it yet. So we want to be ready when they find out. So with that, I invite you to join in as we affirm our offertory blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
I've been running in circles, jumping the hurdles, getting caught in that rush of doing so much, feeling kind of worn out, always checking the boxes, trying to be flawless. Has me spinning my head, catching my breath, too afraid to slow down. I tell myself to keep this up, that God wants more than just my love. I've been complicating things, no more need to overthink. Gotta keep it real simple, bring everything right back to ground zero, 'cause it all comes down to this: love God and love people. We're living in a world that keeps breaking. If we want to turn away to change it, it all goes down to this: love God and love people. This is freedom. Keys to the kingdom. Knowing life will be found, but love can be allowed, 'cause love is what it's all about. Tell myself to keep this up, that all God wants is just my love. No more complicating things, no more need to overthink. Gotta keep it real simple, bring everything right back to ground zero, 'cause it all comes down to this: love God and love people. We're living in a world that keeps breaking. If we want to find a way to change it, it all comes down to this: love God and love people. Love is patient, love is kind, rescues hearts and changes lives. Love is all we need to make this right. Gotta keep it so simple. Gotta keep it simple. Oh, it's so simple. Oh, gotta keep it real simple. Bring everything right back to ground zero, 'cause it all comes down to this: love God and love people. We're living in a world that keeps breaking. If we want to find a way to change it, it all comes down to this: love God and love people. Gonna keep it simple. Love God and love people. Living in a world. If we wanna find a way. Oh, it all comes down to this: love God and love people.
Keeping it simple. Love God, love people. We'll have really short services if we just did that. We probably wouldn't even have any churches anymore. And that would be probably a good thing, you know. Well, we bless, and the love offerings have been given today, that have been given online, knowing that they're going to bless the givers as well as the receivers, and create an environment where we can create an environment where we're keeping it simple. We're loving God and loving people. And we lift up those who have left prayers in the prayer box, recognizing that we all have challenges on the human level from time to time. And no matter what the challenge, we know that the solution is always a spiritual idea. For in the spirit, it doesn't see the challenge, it only sees divine and perfect spiritual solutions. It only sees the opportunity for us to learn, grow, and development. So we, again, raise our awareness to be one with that answer, knowing as the statement goes that before they call, I've already answered. Your spirit already knows the answer. And so as we start from that premise, we know that all prayers are answered, perhaps not in the way that we will understand until sometime later. We know that these prayers will go on to silent unity and be prayed over for an additional 30 days in which that consciousness will radiate even more. So we're grateful and thankful for the outcomes that Spirit has in store for us, knowing it's always good in some way, shape, or form. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. And we let us join together as we affirm our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, I am, and all is well. And that's the truth. Let us sing together our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator. Family, all our family, all are we. Family, all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. Let this be the moment. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let it begin with me.
Peace and blessings. Have a great day and a great week.
How I woke up this morning with my mind